there, everybody. This is Kristen from Teaching Balance, and I'm here with you with this week's mindfulness meditation practice. And if my calculations are correct, this is a meditation that's going out on Valentine's Day, assuming you open it on the day it goes out. So happy Valentine's Day to everyone. This is, of course, our month of self-love. And so I thought, since it is Valentine's Day, that we would take a slightly deeper dive on this concept of self-love. Now, like I mentioned last week at the beginning, there are so many different angles that we can come at this with. But the one that I wanted to explore with you for this week's invitation, is to actually use and really dig into this idea of the phrasing of self-love. Now, there have been some times, particularly February's, but also other months, where I've explored similar themes like self-compassion, self-acceptance, self-kindness, all of that sort of thing. And of course, it's all really under the same umbrella. But I feel like for a while I kind of avoided self-love because it almost felt like too much. And it's interesting because my perception of that was recently tested, maybe about a month or two ago, when I was collaborating with another educator who does these Texas sort of like online book study types of things. And he always likes to kind of talk about the books and the themes with someone else, and then that's shared as part of the content. Anyway, the important thing is, the book that he invited me to discuss with him for this class is called, Love Yourself Like Your Life Depended on It. And I will be honest with you, I can't remember the author's name. Now, I will also be honest, I did not actually read the book itself. However, I did read summaries and I did watch several videos with the author. And I'm not saying that's right, I'm just telling you the truth. But the important part is, it is all about his book and his kind of thing, at least in the context of this book, is all about the phrase, I love myself, which hence is our theme for this week's video. Now, I don't know about you, I'm like rubbing my eyes, but it's difficult. So I'll give you the quick overview. The idea is that so many of us, because of the way we are, our formative years and, just sort of how things are based on our dispositions and what have you, so many of us are so hard on ourselves, and we're really harsh with ourselves and judging of ourselves. This is all aligned with the stuff that we do here. And one way, according to him, to disrupt this and really cease that from being the mental loop in your mind is to replace it with a new one. And the new thing that you replace it with is this idea of saying to yourself, literally over and over again, I love myself. And I don't know about you, but I have this real aversion to anything that feels too, I'm just going to say it, kind of like sappy and almost like the Stuart Smalley, the guy doing affirmations in the mirror kind of thing. But this is straight out of the Stuart Smalley playbook. And, when I talked about it with my friend Hal, who I was doing this conversation with, I told him, that's really hard. I don't know if I can say that to myself, which first of all is just interesting. Here I am, the person talking about self-compassion, self-acceptance, self-kindness, and I can't say that in my own head to myself, or God forbid, like in a mirror. So the important part here is, because I like to stretch, like anybody, I started trying it. Now, what we're going to do in a little bit, when we do our practice, is I'm going to give you the option to kind of work in what he does. It's very straightforward, so it won't be difficult at all. And you can also just hang out and sit for 10 minutes too. But I wanted to mess around with it. And what I did was, while I was doing it as part of meditation, I also was linking it to something else that was predominant in my mind, which I think I've talked about it with you guys. I was coming to this kind of nexus of finding that in spite of everything, I'm still struggling with putting a lot of pressure on myself and taking myself too seriously. Pretty sure we've talked about that. Anyway, so what I started doing was more, instead of just the mantra of I love myself, I was saying that in my mind and following it up with something along the lines of I don't take myself too seriously. And then I'd kind of like sprinkle in some other things too. So I don't know. I mean, I feel like it worked. I feel like it was helpful, and apparently, according to the author, the thing is too is it feels weird and forced at initially, or perhaps throughout, and it never ceases to feel that way. According to him, it doesn't even really matter. So I don't know. I say give it a shot. I messed around with it. I wanted to share it with you on this day of love, February 14th. In this invitation for this month for you to love yourself and to explore self-love. Here it is. So I'm going to set the timer, and I'll give it to you real quick because it doesn't take a lot. So his suggestion, he actually says you'd only need to practice for like 7 minutes. Obviously, we're at 10. He plays music for a certain amount of time in earbuds or whatever. And then when the music's over, he's done, which is one way to go about it. I do that sometimes when I meditate, if I don't want to listen to anything in particular. And then what he says is on the inhale, you say in your own mind, I love myself. And then on the exhale, you kind of let go of whatever you feel like you need to let go of. And you can do that with your internal verbalization, or you can also use it with visuals and that sort of thing. But the idea is on every inhale, you say, I love myself. And then you exhale out whatever needs to be exhaled out. So like with me, like I mentioned earlier, feel free to play with it. And if you want to switch it up, add different phrases, I encourage you to do that too. So let's go ahead and get started. Finding that posture that is upright but not too tight. If you care to, rolling the shoulders back, interlacing the fingers, or you can also just rest your palms on your thighs, closing the eyes or lowering the gaze. And let's begin by taking those deep breaths, always helpful. Helpful in relaxing and grounding and just being a little bit more embodied. And then whenever you feel ready, allowing yourself just to play with that internal mantra on the inhale, and then on the exhale, breathing out whatever you need to let go of. So let's do this together for a while in silence, and I'll interject just to kind of check in case your mind wanders into thought, which is just fine. I'll prompt you to come back. So let's do this together. Just noticing where the mind is, and if it's wandered, remembering it's not a problem, you just bring it back. And if you care to, just continuing with this mantra on the inhale, saying, I love myself. And on the exhale, letting go of whatever you need to let go of. You can even say mentally, letting go of, and then whatever it may be. So let's sit for the last few minutes until the bell. So that's our 10 minutes. Happy Valentine's Day. And I hope that, if nothing else, this exploration of that phrasing, I love myself, was, if nothing else, interesting to you. Interesting in terms of how you found yourself reacting or responding to it. Interesting if you gave it a shot and really tried working with it. And interesting if it somehow resonated for you. So, of course, you can play these over and over again. And you can also do as that author of that book suggests. Again, the book is called Love Yourself Like Your Life Depended on It. You can also just set a timer for however long you want. He usually sits at around 7 minutes. And just use that mantra on your own, even as you drive to work or wherever you find yourself. So I encourage you to play with it like with everything else. So thank you as always for taking this time for yourself, and thank you so much for allowing me to accompany you on this journey. And I will see you next week. Take care. Bye.